It is now the morning after that first day on the mission, after the morning after that fight. And everybody is, getting up from wherever it is that they had slept. I will say that with Simon's aid, you have been able to chart a reasonable course. The calculation is that you guys will arrive there in roughly 2 days. This half elf named so yeah, you guys spend like the better part of the afternoon kind of like teaches you different knots to use. Ruby, Simon walks up to you. So, sorry to interrupt whatever it is that you were doing previously. Uh,
Supervising.
Supervising, that's so great.
Mhm.
I would expect
Yeah.
a first mate to do that. Yeah, and that's you instead of me. It's great. It's awesome. I want to inform you of a couple of things. There is a sizable amount of the crew that kinda is contemplating leaving the ship after all the work is done. How do you want us to handle that? A first mate often is the kind of the emotional support for a lot of the crew because the captains are usually so intimidating. Some people might be good at that. I can't think of anybody. How would you want to handle it?
Emotional support. Okay. That's not really my style.
Suzanne is like one of the ringleaders of this whole like campaign.
Can I find Suzanne?
You eventually find her. She is one of the only crewmates that are not like actively doing things on board, and she's just like kind of on her hammock, like scribbling in this journal.
Wow, how many vacation days do you guys get?
To me, every day aboard the Reaper is like a vacation.
That makes sense since you seem to be one of the least contributing members of the ship.
I'm sensing a lot of hostility right now. Do you have a problem with me?
I don't have a problem with anyone until they make themselves my problem. It seems like you've been stirring up the pot and trying to get people to leave.
Aramis is gone, and I have no obligation to be here anymore.
I just think it's really funny that, the person who probably owed the most to Aramis is the first one to jump ship. Really interesting.
Okay. You know nothing about me or my relationship with Captain Aramis. And I'm saying captain, not former captain.
Well, all I know is you're leaving at a time when the ship is probably at its worst. So it really makes me, you're very similar to Captain Aramis,
She takes immediate offense to this and lunges at you. With her knife, presses it against your throat. Because the two of you are not super far in height. I have a basic sense of respect on the ship. And for that reason, I will not harm you directly. However, you do not have the right to speak of him in that manner.
I cast command and I tell her to get off me and to bow down, I guess. I don't know.
She brings the knife back, the dagger back, steps away from you, arms flat to her sides, and with almost every muscle in her body is trying not to do this, but she can't help but bow. And she says, "I'll simmer down. Thank you for your time, first mate. You are very certain that this has been a very temporary solution to this problem. The battle is over. The war is not." At the close of this night and day of traveling, the night passes. Alok, you are waking up. The pounding in your head is stronger than the day before. You recognize these are the voices of many dead things. In the distance, you finally spot it. Lagann is a perfect hexagon. Welcome to Lagann. You guys have successfully docked. You notice that some of the crew walk up to the plank and then stop immediately at the plank and do not disembark. No one seems to be following you all off the ship, but you are able to walk down the plank. Welcome, visitors. What brings you to our island?
Repairs and supplies.
I am Shal. Mark 3. There is a shipwright aboard the island. One of the other Warforged kind of turns. They say, "Is that not the one that associates with Tink?" "There is no matter. The dwarf is separate from the strange one. You see a grumpy-looking dwarven man. Probably you guys come up like close enough to the dock, and he's like kind of taking samples and like kind of like eyes sharp, like looking at assessing the damages. Listen, the damage here is pretty grave. It is not in good shape. It's gonna take some time to bolster it back up to its former glory. It'll only run you about 1,000 gold.
We ain't got that kind of money. There are two options we have here. Try to find jobs
Mhm.
here. 2, get the work done, somehow make sure that he gets paid at the end, blast away with the wind bag. I think we should try the job thing first.
I prefer that.
As a backup plan. Or, I look to the left and the right. Are there any other ships in harbor?
Yeah, there are 2 ships, but they are specifically Warforged ships.
Apprehend for the Shield of Celestia, one of their ships. And we just ditch the Slim Reaper. Just ditch it outright. We leave.
That can be Plan Z.
Plan Z.
Yeah.
We have many plans.
Ruby, being very well acquainted through your god, who is a goddess of storms, with kind of the air and the wind and the shifting of the weather, you feel an almost imperceptible breeze run fully over your body. You are able to discern where this breeze has come from. In an alleyway, you see a hooded figure kind of leaned against it, who seems to be watching the 5 of you as you approach Tinkerton's home. They do not seem to be anybody that you recognize. Their cloak seems to be made of a similar material to the one that Valere had on.
Yeah, what the heck? I'll tell my group.
I don't know if anyone else has looked over. I definitely have. Does it seem like they've noticed that we are all looking at them?
You all kind of collectively do that thing where it's like, all right, nobody look. He kind of takes a step back because he's surprised that you all noticed him, and he stoops forward, uncovers his hood. He approaches you and he says, "Forgive me. Were you frightened by my presence?"
Not gonna lie, it was a little creepy.
Yes, I can tell that it was. I'm so sorry. I merely wanted to come greet you in person. I imagine you've had quite a tough journey.
To a degree.
I mean, you are alive after all. Not
Yeah.
very many could have survived what you survived.
How, if I may ask, are you aware of what we survived?
Well, you see, I am what is called a windseer. There is only maybe one in a generation. It has given me the ability to sense things in the wind. Things that are happening elsewhere. Things that haven't happened yet. And even sometimes, and you all feel that the kind of breeze wash over you again, and he says, the emotions of the people near me. For example, that one over there, and he points directly at you, Alok. There is something bothering you, isn't there? The voices of the dead, are they loud?
You can tell that. Yeah, they are loud.
I hear them too sometimes. And he kind of you can tell that he's not one for social graces, and his head is kind of just swiveling around, looking at each of your faces directly.
I'm Gallet.
Oh, yes, names. He bows again. He says, I am Aurelius. In the custom of my people, I do not have a last name, but you may call me Aurelius Windseer if you like.
Would you happen to know of Valar?
Valere, yes. We sort of grew up together. She is a remarkable woman and an extremely talented windcloak. Right, well, I do not mean to delay you any longer, but I was wondering if you've seen Valere's brother. He is with you, is he not?
Yeah, why would you think he was?
I could have sworn I sensed his presence.
In my robes, I have been keeping the shard, so I will pull out the one that was in Valera's little box. Does this have any significance to you?
His face pales at the sight of this. How did you come across this object?
This particular one was in Valera's possession. She has been looking for him for, it sounded like, from her letters, some time. But as far as we know, he was never aboard.
I have been looking for him as well. There were not many people in our village in the Galan Republic. When the Aliceris disappeared, we all went to look for him.
You think that he was on the Reaper?
I could have sworn I sensed his presence, but perhaps it is just that shard that you're holding that gave me the impression.
Tylen, just recognized that name. So it's just like, wait! And then just deep stare.
You recognize the name, do you not?
Yeah, I was previously one of his crewmates.
He was on a ship? Willingly. Like, he was willingly a part of a crew.
He was sort of emphatic about being on a crew.
I can tell that you are not lying to me, but I don't understand. You're going to laugh, but there is a village not too far from Palestrom called the Village of the Wind. So named because the highest population of Windcloaks seem to be born around there. But Alaceris was not a Windcloak. Thank you for your help. It appears that I was mistaken.
Aylock.
Yeah?
Dead people?
Yeah. I didn't want to say things that you guys would think I was crazy, but if it becomes a problem, I'll let you guys know.
Were you always able to talk to ghosts?
No.
Okay, I won't pry any further if it's making you uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'd rather not talk about it.
You all knock at the door of Tink's house, and the door slides open, and you see a very a tall, gangly looking Warforged. Well, hello, visitors. You all seem intact, so this is strange.
Hi there. We're looking for some work, and we hear you might have some.
I personally do not need any grave assistance at the moment, but if you are looking for gold in order to fix your ship, I would recommend that you perhaps go on an expedition with the divers. They dive down and they try and find treasure. So you all, after getting this advice from Tink, there is a very small ship docked there. As you are kind of passing by, you see the guy that you saw earlier being dragged to the ship.
Yeah, I guess we gotta run up.
One of them turns and he says, "Listen, this is not your business right now. As an island neutral body such as the Shield, it is not on you to interfere with the business of the Storm King."
I'm gonna cast fog cloud.
You cast fog cloud on the ground near Aurelius. The fog clears a little bit as the wind itself swirls around him so that he can see. And he goes, "What happened?"
Yeah, I would like to go in and
Hi.
try to help Aurelius out.
While they're doing that, can I use liturgy to maybe project Aurelius's voice somewhere else so the guards think he's not where he is?
That is awesome. I love that. In what direction are you going to lead them?
I'm gonna try to get them to walk off the dock and into the water. Maybe where the water is?
Ayla and Suma, you successfully grab him by both arms and kind of drag him to his feet really quick and into the depths of this cloud. As you all are escaping, you hear splash, splash, kind of off in the distance. Yeah, so as you all rush Aurelius up to your ship, we're gonna end the session there.